Hey everybody, it's Emily at Arg Schooling, and today I have yet another book haul. I have been buying books. My excuse this time is that I was purchasing to do updates and stuff for Build Your Library, so I would say that probably 90% of this is all stuff that has to do with Build Your Library. And yeah, I'm going to use that as my excuse. I have been collecting for work. This is my job. I have attempted to organize, but we'll see how this goes. This is going to be long. I'm going to try really hard to keep this pretty concise. First book I have in my stacks here is 1 Minute Mysteries, 65 short mysteries you solve with science. I think I saw this. I want to say that I am on Critical Thinking Company. Is that their? Yeah, Critical Thinking Company's email list, and I saw these and I was intrigued, so I bought one to check out, and I have not actually had a chance to look at it yet, but I still think this sounds like a fun thing to add to our morning basket. I will let you guys know what I think once we've actually used it. I bought Neal Shusterman's The Dark Side of Nowhere in my goal to read all the Neal Shusterman. This is just the next book I picked up. I think this is a standalone. I'm probably wrong, and there's probably like 8 more that I'm gonna have to buy, but I think this is standalone. And this is a suspenseful thriller, and I don't really know too much more about it than that. Besides that, it's Neal Shusterman, so I'm probably gonna love it. These next two kind of go together. I read about wildlings and thought it sounded awesome. And this is about twins, which automatically caught my interest. And it's fantasy. And so I was like, ooh, I should get this. This is also by Eleanor Glue, I believe is how you say her name. And that's when I realized, as I was adding this to my cart, that it's a sequel. So I then bought Sparkers, which is the first book. I don't know if it's an actual sequel or if they're just in the same universe. I don't believe that the same characters are in these stories, but I figured if I'm going to read a second book, I should at least have the first book. These are both middle grade. I bought this with the intention of reading for middle grade March. I don't think that's going to happen. I just have too many things to read right now. They are both fantasy, and I honestly don't know too much more than that this involves twins, and I believe it has something to do with one twin being taken and the other one having to rescue him or her. This next book, again, I have no idea why I bought this. As I'm organizing my piles here for this video, I'm like, why did I get this? I don't know. It sounds interesting. It's about 4 girls all named Guinevere, and I think I honestly, that and the cover is what kind of drew me to this book. I don't know a whole lot more about it. So if you've read this and you know anything, let me know what you think. I don't know that I'm going to, but I'm still looking for level 11 books, and I saw this. I've had it in my cart, honestly, for a while, but I was thinking maybe it would fit. I wanted something science fiction. I felt like we should have some science fiction here. And so, I don't know. It's a big book. I don't know if it's going to end up in level 11, but I still really want to read it. James S.A. Corey's Leviathan Wakes. It's supposed to be amazing. This is the first in the series. I want to say there's something like 9 books out right now, and it sounds like an awesome series. I've heard it compared to Game of Thrones. You guys know I love my Song of Ice and Fire, and I love political intrigue and like just really big over-the-top drama type things like that, and I hear that this is kind of what this is, like a space opera, kind of like Game of Thrones. So that's really all I need. Years ago, I read Persepolis, but I only ever read the first book, and I've been meaning to get the rest, and so I finally picked up the complete Persepolis. This is by Marjane Satrapi. I had no real reason besides I really do want to finish the series, and so I picked it up. This is a graphic novel all about the Iranian Revolution in the late 70s, early 80s, and it's told by a girl who lived it. And I think that I loved the first book. I think I'm going to enjoy the rest of it too. Another book I've had in my cart for a while is If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. This is sort of a Shakespearean type story, and I don't know a lot more than that. So yeah, this is a coming-of-age story, also about a character named Oliver who used to be in a Shakespearean conservatory group, and it's sort of him telling his story, and I have been wanting to read it for forever, and so I finally bought it. I don't know when I'm gonna get to it, but I bought it. I picked this up for my daughter because she's on her World War II kick right now. This is called Hidden by Loic de Villiers, Mark Lozano, and Greg Salcedo. And this is a graphic novel about the Holocaust, and it's about a Jewish girl who is in hiding. And it's very bright illustrations, very colorful, and very simple. It's very simply told. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but I'm very excited about it because I'm always looking for things like this. Next, I don't know, the next 3 books are all graphic novels. I also picked up My Favorite Thing is Monsters by Emil Ferris. This has been on my radar for a little while now, and I have just been dying to get my hands on it, and so I finally picked it up, and I am super excited about it. It's just beautiful. It's beautiful to look at. The illustrations in this are just stunning, and the topic is fascinating as well. This is sort of a mystery about a girl following her neighbor who has a mysterious past that goes back to World War II. It just sounds awesome, and it looks beautiful, and I've heard nothing but rave reviews, so I'm kind of excited about it. The next one I've already read because I read it pretty much the minute I bought it because I'm like, I need to read this now. And that is Here's Negan, The Walking Dead backstory about Negan. I am obsessed with Negan. I love his character. I really do. It's bizarre, I know, and I'm going to talk more about this in a review at some point because I'm going to have to talk about more Walking Dead stuff in the near future because I have lots of thoughts. But yeah, I have been wanting to pick this up ever since I heard it existed because Negan is probably my favorite character in the Walking Dead series right now, and I needed to know what made him the way he is, and that is what this book is about. This book is the backstory about Negan, and it's excellent. I loved it. I wish there was more. My thought as soon as I finished this book was I need the entire series of The Walking Dead to be told from Negan's perspective. So I really wish that was a thing. Let's make that a thing. I also picked up the first season, or I shouldn't say the first season, the 8th season of Buffy the Vampire Slayer comics. I have been wanting to read these forever, ever since the series ended, and I needed more. And then I haven't had a chance to read the comics. I haven't even opened this. This is still shrink wrapped. Yeah, it's not high priority right now, clearly. But this is season 8. I don't even know how many seasons there are at this point. I want to say maybe 10 seasons all told. But anyway, I've been wanting to get my hands on these for ages, and I kept lamenting that why don't they combine them? Because for the longest time you could only get them 1 episode at a time, and I'm like, that's just too expensive. Comic books are not cheap. And so I've been wishing that they would combine them into like an omnibus or something, and they finally did. So this is the entire season 8 of Buffy. So I'm finally going to get to read it. So this next book I purchased because I think I'm going to put this in level 2. This is The Mad Wolf's Daughter by Diane Margris. I've heard good things about this, and I think it would make a nice replacement for The Girl in a Cage, which I love. That's an awesome book by Jane Yolen. But it is a little bit heavy sometimes for that age group, but I really like the topic, and so I kept it there. But I think this will still suit the topic, but be a little bit more age level appropriate. So I'm excited to finally pick this up. I've been hearing about it for a little while now, and I just really want to read it. I also bought Tomi Adeyemi's Children of Blood and Bone. I've had this on my radar for probably 6 months now, and I've been just waiting and waiting and waiting. And it finally was released. It came out last Tuesday, I think. And I am super duper excited about this book. It's beautiful. The map inside the cover is just like, ugh, it's so pretty. You know I'm a sucker for books with maps. This is about a character named Zelly. Magic has disappeared, and she gets to go to a school to learn magic and bring it back to her kingdom, I think. I'm probably wrong. I try not to know too much going in to books like this because I don't want to be spoiled. Really hoping to pick this up soon. This next book I picked up as a possible replacement in level 1 in Build Your Library. This would probably be replacing The Thieves of Ostia if it's good. And that is Tiger Tiger by Lynn Reed Banks. It's a teeny little book. And this is about 2 tiger cubs that are brought to Rome and trained, and the stronger tiger is made to work in the Colosseum to fight gladiators and that sort of thing. And the other one is treated more like a pet. And so this is a story about those 2 tigers. It's hard to find books about Rome for children that are worthy of study, I should say. There's lots of easy reader type stuff that isn't the most literary, that is just sort of, I wouldn't call it twaddle necessarily, but it isn't really worth studying. So I'm hoping that this is good, because I know a lot of people, their children don't enjoy The Thieves of Ostia because it is a little bit violent, but it's Rome, so I mean, Rome was a little bit violent. So yeah, I'm hoping that this book will make a decent replacement, although again, I don't know. There's Colosseum and gladiator stuff, so I'm imagining that a tiger is going to be killing people. Another book I bought for level 1, isn't really a replacement, just something that I thought would make a nice fit, is Heroes of the Environment, True Stories of People Who Are Helping to Protect Our Planet. Level 1 science is all nature study, and so I thought adding in some stuff about environmentalists and people helping the environment would make a nice little tie-in. So this book looks cute. I have not actually read it yet, but it's a bunch of biographies about people doing things to help the environment. So it sounded really cute, and we'll see if it fits. You wouldn't want to be a Greek something. A Greek athlete? Is that the one I use in level 1? There's so many of those books. Went out of print, and it's getting hard to find, so I was looking for a replacement for that in level 1, and I picked up What's Your Angle, Pythagoras, a math adventure by Julie Ellis. It has nothing to do with Greek sports, obviously, but it's ancient Greece, and it looked like a cute book. I think we borrowed this from the library before, because now that I'm flipping through it, it seems familiar. And it's just a cute story, a little mini biography about Pythagoras and the Pythagorean theorem. Something else that I had been hunting for forever is an art replacement for level 1. Like, seriously, right after I published level 1, those 3 ancient art books all went out of print. I'm like, really? It's not cool. And then they became almost impossible to find, and they're sold for exorbitant pricing. I don't understand why people do that. No one's gonna buy your 32-page book and pay $180 for it. They're just not. So don't do that. But anyway, I cannot find anything to do with ancient art for children. It just doesn't exist except for those 3 Susie Hodge books. So I started having to look at other things. And I found this series, and it looks fantastic. These are the art books for children. There are 2. The white one is the first book. The yellow one is the second book. And these are fantastic because they teach children how to look at art. So there's a picture to study, and they always tell you the name of the artist, and then there's a little section to read about the art and learn more about why the artist might have done what they did, what technique did they use, things like that. And it just gives you, the parent, something to read to your child about how to study that piece of art. So it's sort of like a picture study type lesson book, and I thought these looked awesome. I've been reading this one with my youngest, and we're really enjoying it. She loves looking at art, and so this gives me things to talk about the art to help her to get more out of the picture study. And there's ideas in here for things to do, or I'll give you ideas for things to do as far as projects go. So yeah, these are awesome. So this will be the replacement for art in level 1. Another book I've been looking to replace is the Usborne Intro to Art, which I adore. It's an awesome book. We use it in levels 2 through 4. And of course it is also out of print, and it's getting harder and harder to find copies. So I've been looking for something to replace that. And I came across The Arts, a Visual Encyclopedia by DK, which isn't exactly the same, but it's very similar in style, where it goes through different techniques and different periods of art. It is divided though by painting. There's stuff about photography and sculpture and music and dance. So it's a little bit more extensive because it covers the arts rather than just art. But I think this might be replacing, I'm not guaranteeing it yet, it might be replacing the Intro to Art book, but I still have to like organize it and put it in, and I haven't done that yet, so I don't know how well it will line up. But I'm hoping that it will work as a replacement. I also really wanted to replace the art, because once I added the animal art book in level 0, I was like, well, now I really want to add nature because these are so beautiful. I love this book. So this is the Book of Nature Poetry by National Geographic. It's gorgeous. The art and the photography in this is stunning. And I just think it's a beautiful book, and it fits really nicely with the science theme in level 1. But then if I replace this in level 1, then I have to replace the poetry books in levels 2 and 3 as well. So I am going to probably use this book in either level 2 or 3. I haven't decided yet which one it fits better in. And this is The Poetry of Science. And it's by Sylvia Vardell and Janet Wong. And it is the coolest little book. It's all in black and white, so it's not nearly as beautiful to look at as the other book. But this is full of poetry about science. And it's divided by the type of science it is. So there's ask and investigate. What do scientists do? What's the matter? Space and sky, weather and climate, the human body. So it covers all kinds of different things in science. This next book, I haven't decided. I don't think this is going to be in level 2, but it might be. I mostly picked this up because we have a copy and it fell apart. And that is Shakespeare Retold by Edith Nesbit. Our copy I bought, I don't know, 15 years ago, and I bought it at a used bookstore, and it was not in the greatest of condition when I bought it, and it had just fallen apart, and I needed to get a new one. And so I've been looking for a replacement, and this is the newest version of her stories, her Shakespeare stories, and I actually like this better. The version I had bought was just like a hardcover, old, like small, no illustrations, or if there were illustrations, I think there was only a couple. This one is beautifully illustrated, like just very pretty. After I got it and started flipping through it, I thought this might actually fit nicely in level 2 instead of the Medieval Tales book. I don't know yet. I'll get there when I get there. I'm still working on level 1 updates right now. Also for level 1, I could not resist this book. Natural World, a Visual Compendium of Wonders from Nature by Amanda Wood and Mike Jolly. This book is so pretty. So first of all, the cover of this book is a poster. I don't know if you guys can see this. I don't really want to take the whole cover off. But the dust jacket is actually a humongous poster. It also has bookmarks. You can see the little ribbons hanging out of the bottom. There are 3 ribbon bookmarks in here. But this book is beautiful. It's filled with all sorts of information about the natural world, from animals to plants to ecosystems, and it's so pretty. Like here's a section called The Secret Life of Plants. But it's gorgeous, and I'm like, this goes with the nature study in level 1, and I really want this book, so we're gonna make it work because I think it's beautiful. This is another one I bought, and it came up in the, if you like this natural world book, then you might also want this. It's the same company, I think. This is Nature's Day, Discover the World of Wonder on Your Doorstep by Kay McGuire and Danielle Kroll. And this is also very beautiful, but it's a little bit more simple. And this goes by the seasons, so I would use this as extra reading. This doesn't need to be scheduled, so it's not going to be a replacement or an addition in level 1. This is Bedtime Math, A Fun Excuse to Stay Up Late by Laura Overdack. I bought this to go in our morning basket, and it's just, each spread is like a word problem, and then it gives you activities for each level, so wee ones, little kids, and big kids. So sometimes we do all three. Next 3 books I bought are for level 4. The 10 Inventors book went out of print and it's getting hard to find, so I need to replace it. So I have been researching and I have 3 books that I don't know which one I'm going to use. The first one is Girls Think of Everything, Stories of Ingenious Inventions by Women by Catherine Thimish. And it's pretty self-explanatory. It's a bunch of stories about female inventors, women who invented things. And it sounds awesome. I also have Before the World Was Ready, Stories of Daring Genius in Science by Claire Emer. And it is, again, stories about different inventions from all over the world. And I also have, because I just need too many choices, I also have What Color Is My World by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. This is about African American inventors. So they all sound awesome. And I don't know which one I'm going to use. But maybe 1 or 3 of these will be in level 4. I have a couple books here I bought for level 11. Actually, this one might end up in level 12 because I bought it and then after I thought about it, I'm like, oh, I don't know, this might fit better in American history. This is Silver People, Voices from the Panama Canal by Margarita Engel. And I think it's just a story told in verse, so it looks like poetry. So I think this is a story in verse about the people who built the Panama Canal. So I don't know yet if this is going to go in level 11 or level 12, but I think it looks like an awesome book, so I want to include it somewhere. Next, I've already read, and this is The Gold Eaters by Ronald Wright. This is going to be in level 11, and this is all about when the conquistadors came over from Spain and invaded Peru and the Incan Empire, and it's told from the perspective of a boy who gets captured by the Spanish, and he becomes their translator. And it's his life, basically from the time he was about 12 or 13, I believe, at the beginning of the story, all the way through him becoming a man, and I think he's in his 30s at the end of the book. And it's like an epic tale about what's happened once the Spanish come into Peru and basically destroy this great empire. And it's very well done, very well written. I really feel like this is one of those books that it puts you in the story, and I loved it. Next up, I had 2 books, and I bought both of them, but I really only needed one. But you know me, I'm gonna buy all of them. So I needed something for Tudor England, and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So the first book I grabbed was A Wicked History, Mary Tudor, Courageous Queen, or Bloody Mary by Jane Buchanan. And it's a little bit on the easy side, but I felt like maybe it would be a pretty good biography about her, because especially I like this series because, well, they're often portrayed on the cover as villains of history. I think it does a good job of giving you kind of a neutral version of a biography as opposed to like either painting them as a saint or painting them as a villain. So I really enjoyed the one I have about Vlad the Impaler. And so I wanted to see how they did with Mary. I also picked up this book, and I think this is probably going to be what I use in level 11. Because I think it sounds fascinating. And this is Black Tutors, The Untold Story by Miranda Kaufman. And I have to admit, I had no idea that this was a thing that happened in that time period. And this is a nonfiction account of the Africans that were brought into Tudor England and the way they were treated and the things that they did. And the interesting part of this is that they weren't treated negatively, that there was no racism in Tudor England, that these people were treated as equals, and that is fascinating to me. Yeah, I think this is going to be a great addition to level 11. The other book I bought on a whim, I did not know this was a thing that existed until very recently, and I got super excited about it. And that is Marvel 1602 by Neil Gaiman. Basically, the premise of this is it's the Marvel superheroes in 1602. That's a thing. That's a thing that exists. Thank you, Neil Gaiman, because I think this sounds amazing. And since I was buying that, I went ahead and picked up the first Sandman comic because I've never read this series either, and I would like to read more Neil Gaiman. I am almost done, guys. We're getting to the end. So this last pile here, this last pile is science for level 7. I've been needing to get to this. I did not know what to do. The science in levels 5 and 6 were easy to replace because there was already something that existed that I could just schedule in. There is no science that exists for level 7 that is secular. That just does not exist. There's not a chemistry program that I could just schedule in. So I've been doing some research and finding books. And I have a pile here. We'll see how this goes. Basically, the science would be the periodic table with some more chemistry thrown in, maybe, depending on what I end up doing. So the books I have in my pile for this are Sam Keene's Caesar's Last Breath. This is Decoding the Secrets of the Air Around Us, so about air molecules and the elements in the air. And I really like Sam Keene's books. I've used 2 of his other books in other levels of Build Your Library, so it felt like it was a thing that should probably work for level 7. I also have the periodic table, the definitive visual catalog of the building blocks of the universe. And it's got gorgeous pictures and photography about all the different elements in the periodic table. I also have the DK book, The Elements, a visual encyclopedia of the periodic table, which is similar but has a little bit more information than that book, so I don't know which one I'm going to use, or maybe I'll use both, I don't know yet. Theodore Gray's Completely Mad Science Experiments You Can Do at Home but Probably Shouldn't. And it is exactly what it sounds like. He does science experiments in this book, and while you could do them, you probably should not. So I don't think you should attempt all of these, but he does them for you so you don't have to. And then finally, because I know some people really need to have written things that they can put in their portfolios, I grabbed this book, which is Elements in the Periodic Table. It's kind of worksheet type things that you can give your child to do that have to do with periodic table and the elements, and that way you have more written work that you can then put in a portfolio. That is my book haul. It's kind of excessive. I did a count before I started, so I wouldn't have to do it now. And there are 40 books. I had 40 books in this haul. It's a lot. So if you stuck it out this long, thanks for watching. I hopefully won't have another book haul for a while. I always say that. But my daughter's over here shaking her head like, yeah, right, Mom. This is my weakness. What can I say? I don't really intend to buy any more books for a little while because I feel like I've been a bit excessive. So, yeah. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Happy reading. Bye.